So we just watched the Nintendo Direct press conference, and they announced a whole bunch of stuff that we already knew and only a few things we didn't know. The thing that I thought was interesting is that they opened with the 3DS lineup. Mm-hmm. You would think that they would want to hit you hard with at least something Switch-based, but we were more than halfway through. You know, we were on page 3 of my notes.
Yeah. While we were watching.
I took all kinds of notes. I don't know how meaningful they are, given that a lot of these games don't seem to be for us.
So let's go down. We'll talk about the different things that we saw.
So the first game, and a game that I'm okay with, was Hey Pikmin. Was the first thing, which was the 2D.
I liked Pikmin. And originally it was on GameCube, right? Wasn't that the first one? That's the only Pikmin I've ever played was the first one on GameCube, and I liked it.
So, I mean, Hey Pikmin, it's cool that it was a 2D platformer. It seemed like the graphics were very vibrant. It seemed like there was a lot of things. The touchscreen control, I don't know. That's a little weird. My question is, why didn't they port this to Switch? You know?
Right.
Like, why isn't that a Switch game? It's 3DS only. It's coming out July 28th, which is pretty soon. I thought it was okay, and it was good to lead with, but it didn't really, knock me out. Mm-hmm. The touchscreen, I don't like touchscreen controls on games that aren't, mobile games.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I hated in Castlevania where you had to trace the sigils and stuff like that in some of them.
It bothered me in Phantom Hourglass where you had to use the little stylus pen and all that. It's I would just prefer to have the regular controls.
Yeah.
And that's with a lot of things, with Nintendo. It's the Wii, swinging your arms around. I would rather just have the regular D-pad or the control stick.
They showed a game called Ever Oasis that's coming out, in June 23rd. It was an RPG. It seemed very focused on kids.
There was a lot of RPG heavy things in this.
Even Monster Hunter
JRPG.
Monster Hunter stories, it seems like they're going the Pokemon route where you're collecting the monsters instead of slaying them. That was a little weird. That's a fall game. Yokai Watch. I mean, I see those toys in Toys R Us. That's a kid's game.
This whole press conference was very heavy on toys. It was we're going to tell you about this game and also get the Amiibo too.
Yeah. I mean, they showed other, I'm just going to say, JRPGs and tactics games and stuff like that. There was
a lot of that.
Culdcept, Revolt, Fire Emblem, Miitopia. You don't even...
Okay, but I'll tell you what, though. The one that... there was a few that did interest me.
Yeah.
And Kirby's Blowout actually looked decent to me. I might play it. I always like Kirby games since Kirby's Adventure. And there was actually two. There was one that I didn't really...
Kirby Clash that looked more like Smash Brothers.
I wasn't really too interested in that one, but the Blowout one was a little bit more puzzly.
Yeah.
And that was a little bit interesting to me.
Yeah, Kirby's Clash was interesting because it looked like they were having the JRPG stuff, the healers and the mage and the fighter, but then it looked like it was side-scrolling combat or Smash-based, and it was just weird like that.
Yeah.
That game's actually out today, which was interesting. But Kirby's Blowout Blast, I thought the most interesting thing about that, and I don't know if it speaks to future 3DS distribution, is it's coming out in the summer, and it's eShop only.
Oh, yeah.
It's a Kirby game. But it's going to be eShop only.
You think that I don't know why that's not available in the store.
Which was a little weird. So we got through all that. We got through all this, and, Pikmin was good, and then there was a bunch of stuff that really wasn't in our wheelhouse. And then we got the Bye-Bye BOXBOY.
And we're it's this practically stick figure character, and I'm hey, that looks pretty good.
Yeah, it's and if you played BOXBOY, you have Game Boy mode, and we're yeah, Game Boy mode.
They show the green screen.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Actually, honestly, that game looked awesome, and I didn't know that that was the third in the series. I hadn't even heard of BOXBOY, so that's something I actually really want to play.
Yeah,
now.
absolutely.
Go back and play those games. That looks cool. Really good.
It looks cool. It definitely looks it's a puzzle game, but it has some of the features like games I liked, Zeo Drifter, and it had a lot of those games, those indie style games. Yeah. But it was HAL Laboratories, and I'm surprised I've never heard of it. I feel like I should have known about it.
That went right under the radar for some reason.
I think a lot of it is we don't have a 3DS capture, so we don't look at a lot of 3DS stuff. At that point, they were hey, 3 new Link Amiibos. They looked kind of cool. But
so we used the Link Amiibos when we were playing. Yeah. We did a live stream of Zelda, and we used those a little bit because when I'm playing Zelda, I want Link to have the classic costume and all that. So you have to have the Amiibo to do that. So that's why I got the Amiibo, because I want to play Zelda with the classic costume. But I don't think you should have to do that. I think you should be able to find the costume somehow in the game. I think it's bullshit that you have to spend an extra $20 to get the costume, because it's a Zelda game. Everybody knows Link with that classic green costume.
Everything should be in the game. And now, the interesting thing is the 3 new Amiibos they announced, it looked like there are versions of those Amiibos that are in different poses that already exist. Mm-hmm. So my question is, with those 3 new Amiibos, are they going to add anything new? Like, we didn't hear about... What I was hoping for that I was going to hear about in this press conference, and I didn't, was there's no Zelda DLC.
Mm.
You know, where's Breath of the Wild?
I think they're saving stuff for E3. They must be, right, because E3, you know, it's coming up, and they're going to have. There was nothing in this entire Nintendo Direct about Mario Odyssey. They didn't mention it at all, and I think that's too bad. I think because today, had they shown some Mario Odyssey stuff, like a little more of the game, I think they're saving that for E3. But that concerns me, because it's like, now E3 is going to come along and they're going to be like, okay, here's some more stuff about Mario Odyssey.
But where's the next thing?
Where's the more shit?
Like if they would have busted out, been like F-Zero or Metroid or new thing we've never heard of or something like that.
That's what I want. New thing we've never heard of.
All they needed to do, right? For this particular Nintendo Direct. But it kind of seems like this was just like topping off the tank and not giving us like the real meat of what they're coming out with.
I think that one thing that they did today that was successful for me is that I was concerned when we started watching it. I'm like, okay, they're going to talk. They had an image on screen that just said, that had the guy from Splatoon and the guy from ARMS. And I'm like, okay, this is just going to be more them telling us about those games, which we've already heard about. But when we sat and we watched it, they told us more about ARMS, and I'm actually more interested to play the game now. They showed different boxing gloves and different moves and all these different things that you can do in the game that I didn't know about, and I'm really interested in that game now.
So at this point in the press conference, 2 things happened. The first thing was they announced that they're going to have 2 types of Cloud, Bayonetta, and Corrin amiibos. But they didn't announce Smash for Switch, which... It's weird that they're going back to the Smash Brothers line, but not announcing Smash for Switch.
They're saving it for E3.
And that's like interesting. But the other thing they said is ARMS is a legitimate fighting game. It may be unconventional, but we got the unconventional Pokken tournament last year, or was it the year before? Well, anyway, we got the unconventional Pokken tournament. And I was like, okay, that's cool. That's cool. They're doing that. And now we're getting another unconventional fighter in ARMS, just like we got an unconventional shooter in Splatoon. So I like that Nintendo's playing in this space. You know, they're not making Street Fighter 2. They're not making Tekken.
Actually, they are making Street Fighter 2.
They are making Street Fighter. They are making Street Fighter 2, but not with ARMS.
I want to mention that real quick. So one of the other things they showed was Street Fighter 2. And like, so here's my big problem. They're showing Street Fighter 2. We played Blaster Master. They're showing like Sonic Mania and all this stuff's cool. They showed Tetris, and Tetris looks really cool and fun, and I love Tetris. But it's like, it's 2017 and we have the Nintendo Switch, and we're talking about fucking Tetris and Blaster Master and all these games that are old franchises and old things. The thing I want more than anything is for Nintendo to have some new ideas. ARMS is new. But that's the only new thing. It's
the only new thing that we saw in this press conference. It reminds me of unconventional fighters in the same way that Power Stone was an unconventional fighter on the Dreamcast, where, you know, it had the top-down look and it was different and the characters had different abilities, or Smash Brothers is an unconventional fighter. I hope that ARMS has legs. I hope that ARMS... Oh, they showed it has legs.
That was good. It
has kicks, right? I hope that it has legs and it can, like, be something that people want to play, because they care about depth, and that's the most important thing in the press conference. They showed us Smash Brothers has depth. It's a new take on a 3D fighter. Mm-hmm. It's what they didn't answer, and maybe they answered it in other press, is what are our multiplayer options? They showed us 2 versus 2, but do I need 2 consoles? You probably do. And I think that's what made...
You probably sit next to each other with the 2 switches. And
that's what made tournaments hard for Pokken, because in Pokken, you needed 2 consoles because it was like the facing view.
You're thinking about the tournament aspect and whether it's going to work for that. But just as far as just watching the game, I think you can kind of tell when you just like watch a trailer whether a game's going to be good or not. And looking at that, like, it looks fun. Like, I I was watching that and I'm like, oh, I would like to have the controller in my hand right now. I'd like to be playing that. I think it looks like a lot of fun. I really like the fact that you can have all those different boxing gloves. And there's so many different things that you can do. Like each character has its own unique ability. And I didn't know that you'd be able to kick. They revealed that. I didn't know that you could hit with both hands. You know,
or one and then the other.
I didn't know it was going to be 4 people could play at the same time. So I don't know. It looks really cool.
That is cool. They also announced with ARMS there's going to be neon yellow Joy-Cons. Right now I own all the Joy-Con colors, so I kind of feel committed
to get more.
So I'm going to get like the neon yellow to go with the red and the blue and the black. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Splatoon, Animal Crossing, Zelda. They're going to have 2 tournaments. Nintendo sanctioned tournaments. I know I'm laboring on these tournament points, but they're going to do both racing and battle. I wonder if more organized play is going to go out of that or if it's just a marketing stunt. It'd be cool if Mario Kart became an esport.
So I had the Wii U, and I feel like for people that actually had the Wii U, which I guess wasn't a lot of people, but for people that had the Wii U, guess what? We played Mario Kart 8 and we played Splatoon, and I know that like they're adding new things to Splatoon and they're adding all these new things to Mario Kart 8. It's the same shit.
Yeah. I want to take it aside. We were talking about Ultra Street Fighter 2 a few seconds ago. I want to mention they're like, oh, and brand new Hadouken mode. The Hadouken mode was in the Genesis version. Like, I know that like all the people who work on it weren't alive when that came out. But
so the ultimate Street Fighter 2 shit is all they're doing is taking Street Fighter 2 and giving it new graphics.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
I think the only announcement in this whole thing that my kids and people my kids' age would care about is Minecraft is coming to Switch on May 11th and it's going to have Mario characters. That's like, that was actually like out of all this shit, I think this will probably sell the most.
I'm surprised that's not something that happened a while ago. And that makes me think of why is there not Lego Nintendo Legos yet? And I know the reason is because Nintendo has a partnership with Kinects. But really, when you think of Kinects, like Kinects and Legos are 2 fucking totally different things. It's like if you want to play with Kinects, play with Kinects. You want to play with Legos, play with Legos. They should make Nintendo Legos.
They should.
But they don't because they view themselves as competitors. I get that. But, like, come on.
It's like the same reason. Like, if you ever noticed when you buy a Funko Pop of Star Wars, it's on a black base because it's a statue. Because Hasbro has the master toy license for Star Wars.
Yeah.
So if Funko wanted to do it, they had to differentiate it and make statues and, like... Toy licensing. We could make a video about toy licensing.
Don't you think Nintendo is losing out on like a ton of money by not having Nintendo Legos?
Yeah, Lego is the biggest toy company in the world.
Imagine
they should make
like
those.
They had like the Batman Lego movie. Imagine if like Mario was in that
Lego movie.
Imagine if there's a Mario Lego movie. Like Nintendo, what are you doing?
Especially they're doing like the theme parks and stuff. We were talking about that.
It doesn't make any sense.
More Neo Geo games are coming. I wish they would put the Neo Geo games in their own folder on the eShop. Because it's like, there's like 100 Neo... There's more Neo Geo games out on Switch than on Neo Geo. Right.
Sonic Forces.
Okay.
I looked at that when that popped up on screen. The first thing I was like, oh my god, they're putting Sonic 06 on?
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit.
It looks the same.
Like Sonic. Okay, so they had Sonic 06 and then they had Sonic Boom, both of which were huge failures and people thought that they were shitty. And now this comes and it looks...
Well, you know what? They're going back to the Sonic Generations.
Yeah, I know there's Sonic Generations and then there was like Sonic... There was like... There was some popular...
Yeah.
Whatever.
But for those of you who bought the Switch to play Zelda and Blaster Master and other classic games, Sonic Mania is coming out summer. We knew about it already.
Again, Sonic Mania looks awesome. I want to play it, but again, same problem. It's Sonic. It's like been there, done that.
So
it's not new. Nintendo needs to come up with some new ideas.
They made like going on the same theme. You know, Project Mekuru looks like Qbert. Yeah, Project Mekuru looks like Flat Qbert Extreme.
Okay,
because you're trying like it's 4 players trying to make the squares be the colors.
I don't think I was paying attention.
Yeah, okay, so literally it's like 4 players running on a grid, and when they jump on the squares, they change colors.
Okay.
like if
It looks like Hubert.
it looks like, but it's like extreme, and there's like items and power ups and like modern
extreme.
But like having you jump on squares and having them change colors, like it looks like Hubert. I think that is a missed opportunity if Project Mekuru doesn't have like a playable Hubert. Make that happen, because it should.
Maybe they're trying to differentiate themselves because they don't want to be compared to Hubert.
Yeah. All right, we all knew Tetris was coming out. Let's not do that. Let's talk about Monopoly. So Monopoly is a game that's actually trying to make the Switch like a multiplayer, like, oh, we're going to play a board game around the Switch.
Every console and computer that ever existed, there was a version of Monopoly. There's been more versions of Monopoly than anything. And here's the thing about Monopoly. The idea of having a Monopoly video game is cool because what everybody hates about Monopoly is setting it up and putting it away with all the pieces of paper and shit and playing the actual board game, I mean. So, yeah, you play the video game, you're like, okay, cool, we don't have to set anything up, let's play that. But the problem with 99.9% of Monopoly games is they have too many graphics and animations that happen. Yeah. Like you roll the dice or you see the ship go down the street and it takes so long for that to happen that you're waiting for these fucking animations that are like a lot of times in a lot of the versions they're unskippable. Best version of Monopoly is the NES version because it's lightning fast paced. And if you play with another person that knows how to play it, you can play really fast, good rounds of Monopoly.
And I mean, yeah, what you don't want to happen is like you land on St. James Place and it's like, you landed on St. James Place, and it like pans up to the building.
To the hotel, and you're like you're watching like a 10-minute cutscene.
Fuck you.
You just play the game.
This is how it works in the board game. I'll buy it.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Done. Keep going.
Done. Keep going. Yeah. Fate Extella, Disgaea 5, Rayman Legends.
They're doing Rayman Legends again. It's like, how many Rayman games has there been by now? Like, I really like the Rayman games, but that's not something for me to be excited about.
You're remaking a game that came out like 2 years ago or something.
It's like another Street Fighter game, another Sonic game, another Rayman game. It's like
more anime-inspired titles. Going. Payday 2. What?
Oh yeah. Okay, I want to give Nintendo credit on that one because Nintendo gets shit on so much, and I shit on Nintendo. Everybody does for not having enough adult titles. There was something I was like, oh, that looks like something that would be on PlayStation.
Yeah.
You know,
and it was. I mean, it was.
But now it's on Nintendo, and good on them. They need to do more of that. I want to say something right now. You want to know what I'm excited about coming up? It's not any of this stuff. Except maybe ARMS. I kind of want to play ARMS, but I'm not like really excited about ARMS. You know what I really want to play? I want to play Red Dead Redemption 2.
Fuck yeah.
Is that going to be on Switch? Probably not. Yeah. But at least they have Payday 2, which is like a more adult themed thing. So good on Nintendo for at least doing that.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to have Red Dead Redemption on the go or Grand Theft Auto on the go. And, Rockstar is not, I mean, there was like some DS or like there was some Grand Theft Autos that came out. I forget when they did.
Grand Theft Auto 5 on the Switch all day.
That'd be great. I mean, even though it's old. I mean, even if they did like
the next one.
That'd be great. It'd be funny.
That's why I said Red Dead Redemption because it's Rockstar.
It'd be funny if like they worked like a plumber named Mario into it. Like you're going to like the drug den and this guy like walks out. And it's like Mario.
Awesome. There's like Mario DLC for Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah, he's just like walking out. He's like, "Oh, I fixed her pipes or something."
That would be worth the purchase right there. But seriously, Red Dead Redemption 2, I think is coming out next year.
Yeah,
Switch will still be around, even if it's 2 years from now. Put Red Dead Redemption on the Switch, and then I can complain less about Nintendo not having adult content on the system.
Yeah. So I can't wait for the NAMCO Museum live stream with Mike, where he plays Pac-Man on the Switch with the HDMI in 1080, 60 frames per second.
So everybody knows, like, I love the retro games. My favorite games are arcade games. I've been through that a million times. Love Pac-Man. I have a display in my house of vintage Pac-Man stuff. Love Pac-Man.
Yeah.
Greatest fucking character ever, pretty much. One of them. It's so stupid that we're playing Pac-Man on
The Switch.
On the Switch.
That we played on the PlayStation, that we played
It's
on
been on everything. It was on the NES. It was on the Genesis. Yeah. You have Pac-Man collections on Steam. You have Pac-Man games on PC. Pac-Man has been on fucking everything forever. Nobody is excited. Not even me, a guy who has fucking Pac-Man display in his house, does not give a shit about Pac-Man on Switch.
It's got challenges.
Fuck it. Yeah.
Yeah. So
you know what I'm saying? If I'm not excited for that, who's excited for that?
Yeah, nobody's excited.
I was excited. I don't want to shit on Pac-Man here. The Pac-Man game that came out last year, that Pac-Man Championship thing, and Championship 2, and
I love when you go to like Barcade and you play the 4-player.
Yeah, like they've done some really cool shit with Pac-Man over the last few years. Like, put that on the Switch. Not oh my god.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and the information that you're going to get from everybody else is Splatoon 2 is coming out. They have a tournament. There's going to be co-op. They have a stupid VHS trailer that doesn't even make sense. Splatoon 2, Plants vs. Zombies Boogaloo.
What are they doing with the Wii, something about the Wii U and
Get Splatoon? Some eggs. Wii U tournament. There's going to be Amiibos. There already was Amiibos. It's coming out July 21st.
Okay, so when Splatoon came out for the Wii U, I thought it was cool. I really did. I honestly enjoyed it. Because I always say I want Nintendo to make new games with new concepts. Splatoon was a new game with a new concept, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for about 5 minutes, and then I was done with it, and I'm like, okay, where's the next game? And here we are with the next console, and we're still talking about Splatoon. Like, I don't have a problem with Splatoon, but it's like, give us something else.
But there's co-op. Bosses.
Yeah.
And it looks exactly like Plants vs. Zombies.
Well, you know what? ARMS looks cool.
Yeah, ARMS does look cool.
Bye BOXBOY. Best thing I saw out of this, I'm going to give the positives. ARMS and Bye BOXBOY. Those are awesome and I'm going to get them.
My favorite thing was like the neon yellow Joy-Cons and I really like the fact that I can buy like 16 Amiibos that don't do anything, and Miitopia.
Yeah, I just want to say on the record, it probably sounds like I'm being really harsh on Nintendo.
I don't think you are,
but the reason I'm so harsh and I'm so like I get worked up about it is because I love Nintendo. I love Nintendo, and I care so much about it, and I complain so much about it because I want it to be good. And Nintendo did so many things to innovate. They created the goddamn D-pad, for Christ's sakes. I mean, they did so much to be innovative, and they made so many awesome games. I want that to continue, and they're doing that with ARMS, but they need to do it more.
The only thing I have to say to Nintendo is like the Switch to me is the greatest like console form factor ever made. Like the hardware is fucking great.
The
hardware is great.
The system itself is awesome. Now software.
Dude, part 1 is complete. Let's go to part 2.
They're working on it though. Like Zelda's pretty good, and ARMS looks like it's going to be good. And since we're on that, we are talking about Switch. I want to do this because you know me and Zelda have to do it. So one thing that we didn't mention before, and that's been really bothering me, is, okay, you remember Ocarina of Time? You'd fight like Goma or like Link to the Past. You'd have like eyeball like bosses and cool shit like that. And there was Aquamentus and all these awesome bosses you could fight. What are the bosses in Breath of the Wild? Ganon, and then who else? Ganon, and then Ganon.
There's like that one mountain where there's like a rock guy.
Yeah, and every boss is Ganon, and then the dungeons are just like
camel, elephant,
a camel, elephant, right? And you rotate it, but where like you used to go into the dungeons, and there would be like every single room had like a different enemy to fight. This game, it's like those eyeball things all over the place with like the
laser
eyeball things, and then there's hardly any enemies in the dungeons. The dungeons are very small. And they're not. I'm disappointed with the dungeons, basically.
Yeah. So like, could we, like, if they
like, that's a great fucking game, Breath of the Wild. But there's certain things about it that drive me nuts.
So now what they need to do is they need to make the Majora's Mask to the Ocarina of Time. They need to make Breath of the Wild, and then they need to make Breath of the Wild engine game 2, and have it have dungeons and stuff.
One more thing.
Right.
The shrines. So, I love the puzzle shrines. They're all awesome. The combat shrines I have a problem with.
Right.
Because every combat shrine is that same robot. Every time you go into a combat shrine, it should be a different enemy you're fighting. How tired do you get of fighting that same robot?
The other thing about the combat shrines is it's like a zero-sum game because you have to hit the enemy unless you're reflecting the lasers back at them, which I found out later. But okay, let's say you come in with 6 weapons. Then you lose 3 of them, and then you find 3 more in the place. So, like, you went through all that trouble just to say you got another shrine.
Yeah. Yes. You break 3 weapons, you get 3 back after you kill the guy, and you do the shrine just so that you can upgrade your heart or your stamina.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what is the point?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, what would have been good is if they got rid of all those combat shrines and they would have made the dungeons themselves better.
Yeah, just all the memory on those. Like even like if they reduce the number of shrines, because there's like 130 or something, 120, I don't know. So, you can look that up somewhere.
So there's a lot that can be done with DLC content with Breath of the Wild to make that game better. I know that they've already like announced some things. They're going to add like another labyrinth or whatever, but there's a lot that they could improve on with the game, because if they would have made certain adjustments, it would have been so good. It would have been better.
Yeah.
But
so that was the Nintendo Direct. Yeah.
I'm still excited for Mario Odyssey. Can't wait to see that. I don't want to... They didn't say anything about it, but that's still coming. And Nintendo Direct, there was a couple good things, but mostly it was...
Mostly just whatever.
Yeah.